Hello! Today we will learn how to export data using Action Call REST API. Now, in a previous tutorial, you've already been shown this action where we, in a task application, where we get the user's list of tasks to our variable, to our system from Microsoft ToDo. Now, in this tutorial, what I want to show you is to show you different methods when creating the tasks. So this step in a workflow is a task of creating the task in Microsoft ToDo. Now, in here, we have many different methods to choose to export data, basically, using our Action Call REST API is to send some information to the external server, send a request, and we have different methods to choose. So I will tell you quickly what is the difference between these methods. We already touched the get method in the previous tutorial, but in this one we have option to do the post. The post is basically when we create a new resource on a server. So we make a request, we send it to the external server, and this request is being used by the server to create a new resource in the other system. When we use the action put, then we would replace an existing resource. So again, we will send some information. We need to make it clear for the external server what we want to update, and the whole resource would be updated. If we choose the patch method, that it's similar to put. However, we will only update a little portion of this specific resource there, and also we have a delete method where we can actually delete a resource from a different server using REST API. Now, in this case, where we are now, I want to use the post method. The post method will create, in this situation, a new task in ToDo list. So I have these ToDo lists of tasks here, and I can have the task created in here through our system. So our application in NAVIGATOR365 will work separately. So we will have the tasks created in our system between our users, but we can also add it very easily to someone else's in our company ToDo list, which many times we have already open on the screen all the time. So how to do it? Now, again, when we use the Call REST API action, we have to enter few information here. First, we use the method post, which means I have already told you we create a task. Now we need a URL. Now, where to get this URL from? And again, we come back to the Graph Explorer, or we can use it Postman, and in here we will find a ToDo. Now, if I open in here, we have a very simple advice here how to create ToDo tasks. If I entered here, then the Microsoft Graph Dev Center gives me a URL. Now, if I go now into more details, you will see that in here I can use ToDo list tasks. So I need to have a list ID of tasks and task in the end. So again, in here it shows me that I should enter here a specific task ID. However, I can add just tasks, and if I run if I run this query, then the system will basically show all the tasks from my system, and I can have this information available immediately. So what I need to do now I need to I move it a little bit. What I need to do now, I need to copy one of these tasks. So to copy one task, I just need to do this part, and I press Ctrl C, and I can put it here like this one. Now, why do I need this response? Because again, we would save it in a global variable. So when I create this global variable tasks in here, right, I need to have the data pasted in here, right? So the system needs to know what would be the outcome of our query. And I come back now to the diagram. I go to this task, creating task with reminder, and this query we have run in a Graph Explorer, and we got all the lists of the tasks. Now, when we copied this one into our template, this gives us an opportunity to use the NAVIGATOR365 very cool feature. Because when we, maybe I'll start from the beginning so you know what I mean. So I close this one and I go into processes and I make new process very quickly. Create to do task, right? I base it on a task and I press save. And in the diagram, I just create one step which will be create task in ToDo, right? And in here, as you know, I just choose call REST API action. In settings then, I request a method post, and in here I will enter this URL we already tried. So I press this one, right? And this is the moment we've just been to before. So content type, we need to choose if we want to write our own JSON. It means that we need to know how to do it. We can use Graph Explorer, we can rewrite them, and then we make a JSON query and we enter in here for the system to know what to do. But this is really advanced feature, so we wanted to make it very easy for all the citizen developers, and we create the creator option. So if I choose the creator, then I'll just put the template in here, and a template is basically I copied from here any tasks we have already in a system run by the same query. Yeah. So if I press Ctrl C and I paste it in template in here, then I can get from template button to basically create a query for me. So if I press this one, it will automatically get all the objects and values from this sample query in here. All right, and the only thing I need to do really is to choose which one I want and which one is needed. So if I again go back to the Graph Explorer and I press this create to do task, so you can see that the system gives me the information that actually the only information important for the system to create the task is a title. So I can actually create the task only with a title with no other details. However, when we paste this query in here in a JSON creator type, then the system gives me all these possibilities to choose. So what I will choose is that I will cancel some of the information like this one. I will just cancel this one, reminder on I will leave, and the status I don't need, and a title definitely I need, and creation, modification, attachments, I don't need any of those. And category, again, I don't really need it. So we have the reminder, title, ID, I don't need it. And from the body, we need a content, definitely. We need to know what is a content of this task, and the content type we would need as well. So in here we have cancelled some of the information already provided by the system, and now we can fill the values. So the values, a reminder on what to put in here, we read basically from this query. So it's reminder on false or true. So in this case I want a true, right? Or false, there won't be any reminder, right? Now a title would be a new task for you, and the value would be basically whatever we would like to put in here. So please make it ASAP for the presentation today. And the content type, we need to put the system what it is, the type, and we need the text. As again, you can see in here that the query gives us the information that the content type needs some kind of the information, like what type of the content it is. In this moment, text. So as you can see, you can very easily create things like this and save it in a global variable, but we haven't added yet. So I press save in here, and to be able to add the global variable, I need to create one. And just to make sure you know what I'm doing, I'll do it very quickly. So I copy this and I go back into process variable. I will add one, and value, I enter the one I've copied, and here I will use JSON, right? And if I press save now, I can now in this diagram save all this detail in the global variable task. All right, so this is to show you quickly how I do it. And now to summarize this tutorial, I want to show you how we have done it. So I will go into migrate the tasks to Microsoft ToDo, and in here, in this create the task with reminder, we have used this query, and you can see we have added some more information to this task when we create it. So basically we have added an importance. We took it from our form where we have the section of importance. We also added a title from the name of our document in our system. So again, we don't have to write this name, we use the name of our tasks in a system. As a content, what we have added basically a link to our system task. So in a content you can very quickly go through the link to NAVIGATOR365, and also we have added a due date when it should be done, and a reminder date when we want a reminder to be on in tasks to do. For example, in here we have a reminder Monday, the 8th, right? So this is how we have created this step in a workflow, and I will show you one more step in a different process, the main process of the tasks. In the end, you can see that we have another step in here called mark task in Microsoft ToDo as completed. What we want to achieve by this one, we want these tasks to disappear. So in ToDo, when this is clicked as a completed like this one, then it disappears. And we want our NAVIGATOR365 influence to-do list with the same feature, so you don't have to do it twice, which means closing the task in one system and closing in another system. What we basically decided that the closing the task in NAVIGATOR365 will use an exporting data feature through calling REST API to close the same task in ToDo. So in here you can see we use the method patch, and this is the reason I show you. The only thing we want to change in this task is a status. We want the status to be completed on a specific with a specific time. So in here we again have the object to be changed status to completed, and a delivery date of our date in a system will go into this task as well. So this again I guess will show you how we use these features of exporting data. This tutorial is finishing now, but the one advice I want to give you in the end, the best to use it is to trial and error all these queries with Graph Explorer, using Postman, using other systems like for example YouTube API, or Google Maps API, or Twitter API, or Salesforce API, or PayPal. All those systems are very popular, and they do have quite extensive information of how to use these APIs, so you can easily learn from it and apply these queries, the specific queries, to our system in action call REST API. Thank you very much for watching. Watch other tutorials we have for more knowledge. Thank you.